speaking about things that I love. I wanted to just check in, how many of you were here for my talk last year? Okay, quite a number of you, and quite a number of you have never heard me talk before. Have any of you never heard me talk before? Woo, cool. Okay, so quite a lot of people are hearing a little bit about what I do for the first time. So just as in a short introduction, my name is Mishka and I talk to plants. That's something that I do, one of the many things that I do. I was the founder of the Psychedelic Society of South Africa, so I work with psychedelic and plant medicines as well, and I educate around that. And something that has come into my field within the last couple of years that has been my secret focus is working with flower spirits and energetic beings that are a little bit lighter in quality. So in the way that sometimes we work with something like ayahuasca, and it's quite an intense experience, you have some flowers that are a lot subtler in the way that they work. So paying attention to those really subtle energies has been something that I've been doing in my little secret spare time. And that's what I'd like to speak about today. But before we get there, the topic that I put out was vibrational alchemy and flower spirits. And it's always very interesting because we set these topics like 6 months in advance at least. And I don't know about you, but in the space of like a week, I'm basically a different person. So I don't know what I intended 6 months ago, but you're going to receive what I have for you now. And to kind of lead you into the conversation, I thought it'd be good to speak a little bit about what vibration is and kind of get us all into the same framework so we can kind of go on this adventure exploration kind of together. So I have some notes that I jotted down, because for me this is a really big topic and it's one that I'm still currently exploring quite actively. So I call these like the pebbles in the river. It like allows me to just like circle around a topic for a while and then kind of circle around another one, and we kind of meander together. I also would like to say that I'd like this to be a conversation. So I'm very open. If you guys like want to say something or ask a question, you guys are welcome. I will answer it to the best of my capabilities, and if I really can't, or if it's like pulling me off my train of thought, I'll say, okay, let's talk about it later. But very much like, for those that were here last year, you know that I'm open to chatting or explaining if I've missed a logical step and you don't understand how I got to where I am. Cool. So how many of you know about vibrational medicine or understand vibration already? Okay, a couple of you. So to start, I'd like to just speak into the fact that everything in our universe is made up of energy. We are vibrational beings. This is the baseline which we're going on. The only difference between everything that we see, touch, feel, smell, think is just the degree of frequency. And so most of us learn this in school very basically, where you see like the light spectrum. So if you go from blue light to red light, we know that it has different like in frequency waves, right? And it's just the degree that is different of those waves that create the different light spectrum. That's actually how our whole universe works, even down to matter, that it just has a different degree or density of vibration in essence. And so that's the baseline of this conversation, is that understanding. And from there, we're going to start building. So how we can interact with vibration on a daily basis generally is we can interact with it physically. So just by being present and being here, you are a vibratory being. There's other ways you might have like found vibration in your field before is like vibes, right? So you can like feel someone's vibe when they walk into a room. That is vibration as well. You get a sense of something. So in those ways, we're starting to interact with it. Sound, for most people, is like the obvious way in which they've like interacted with vibration before. The one thing I wanted to speak about in terms of when I use the word frequency and vibration and high vibration and low vibration is it's not bad and good. At least in my world, I don't see it as bad and good vibration. It's just different, right? And so when we talk about like high vibrational foods or low vibrational foods, they're just taking you to different spaces of this endless universe in every single direction. So I will use the terms high and low just to help us so we have one spectrum. But how vibration works is it's not high or low. It's like X, Y, Z, apple, juice, like it's all over the show. Vibrations are so many directions it can go. But we're just going to use a scale so we can have a conversation with a scale. So everything basically has its own signature vibration. So every object, every person, every thought has its own little vibrational key. And that's essentially what we're also going to be exploring, is like those vibrational keys that everything has and how we can start harnessing them for our well-being and for many other things in life. And so one of the things that I recently said, and then I very quickly got told that many people have said this before, is that I feel like vibration is the medicine of the future. Frequency is the medicine of the future. Apparently, Einstein has said it, and many other people. Anyway, they were right. I agree. And why is this important, at least to me, is till now, I think most of us have had this model of reality being quite a physical thing. And so, for example, even with surgery, if we're approaching a body as a physical thing, then the only way to get inside it or to examine it is by piercing it and going into it, which to some extent is true, right? But there are subtler ways we're able to engage with things if we understand that it's all energy. If everything is the same, then there's other ways of engaging with it that might be less invasive. And also, in your energetic field, you can think about the energy around you being slightly less dense, and then as you come into your body, this is more dense, and we can experience that. Like my body's physical, but I can feel my presence over here is also there, but it's just not physical. It's like a lighter thing. So when it comes to diseases and things like that, we can actually pick up on energetic misalignments much quicker than when it finally turns into something inside the body as a disease. So there's a lot more that can happen in the energetic field than later on in the physical field. And that's really amazing, because that leads us into preventative medicine as well, and energetic alignments and realignments before we have to actually go to more extreme measures. And also with that, the nice thing about this is it's with or without technology. So yes, we have ways of being able to read vibration and work with vibration using technology, and technology is amazing. It gives us readings and tells us what's what, but also with the firm understanding that we are vibration, we can actually just use ourselves to be able to play with this. Because if we're vibration, then we can engage with vibration as part of the vibratory field. It's not separate to us. We are the vibratory field, right? And so we're going to start just feeling into that today. I'm going to do a couple things together just to start feeling into how do I start engaging with my own vibratory field. So, like I said, the ways I'm going to be speaking about today is with sound. So, right? That's one way, very sharp way of being able to hear what sound does to your energetic body. And then also with flowers. So I work with flower essences, and that is a very potent way of working with vibration in a condensed form. And I will get into that. We'll kind of lead into that later. And then also just using like your energetic intention, because everything in this kind of field that we're in carries some kind of energy, and that includes our thoughts. So you can think about like this table having like a very, very dense, like condensed set of energy, and then you can think about a thought as having like a very, very fine wispy, but it still has such a powerful impact in this vibratory field. So, and also just understanding, like, for example, even our emotions, right? Emotion is like energy in motion, essentially. So yeah, it's a really deep topic. So I'd like to just start with a sound exercise, actually, just so we can start understanding our own energetic field. So you guys can all just take a little deep breath and just sit up. Another deep breath in. One more deep breath in. You can sigh it out. Okay. And you guys are welcome to leave your eyes open, gaze down, or eyes closed. And I want you to just become aware of your inner landscape, your inner feeling, your inner resonance. You can feel your breath inside your body. And we're going to make a series of sounds, and I want you to just feel what that actually feels like inside your personal resonance chamber. So the first sound we're going to make is it's a deep sound, and it's like as if we were going to say the word earth. So you can take a deep breath in. And just feel what that does inside your resonance chamber. Next sound we're going to make is it's like a mid note. Deep breath in. just notice where you feel that as well. We're going to take another deep breath in, and the next sound we're going to do is E. It's a high sound. Deep breath in. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to just watch the mind and see what it's doing. We're going to just let the mind go for a little moment, and we're going to make something called a frequency mess, which means that it's going from structured sound to unstructured sound, which means any sound that wants to leave your resonance chamber right now is welcome, which means it can be crying like a baby, it can be monkey sounds, it can be silence, it can be screaming. Really anything is welcome. So for the next 30 seconds, we're going to do a frequency mess. Take a deep breath in and let go. Again. If you feel resistance, that's the start of your practice. Keep going. Great job, great job. So, just to feel what that does to you, both on a physical resonance level, but also on an energetic level. So did you feel thoughts come up? Did you feel energy move inside you? Did you feel like, what the hell is this person making me do right now? All of that is part of the practice, and all of that is vibration. So when we work with vibration, it can hit us in a very, very multi-dimensional way. Part of our physical body gets affected, but also part of our mental, spiritual, and emotional body gets affected. So it starts working on our entire being rather than just what our physical body expresses. And there's ways of being able to connect, using this vibration and realign with this vibration. And you really don't actually have to go that far outside of yourself. It's actually all within you, because we are vibration. It's just about learning the map and the terrain of how to start working with your energy system, because this is essentially a new framework to understand yourself, and then understanding how do I use this framework in my everyday life. So in terms of restructuring vibration, so understanding that we're a energetic being, do any of you know what a vibrational framework would look like in the body? No. Okay. So I'm going to speak about the chakra system. That is one mapping out of the many ancient mappings there are to understand our universe and our field and ourselves using an energetic system. So I'm going to give you guys the snapshot of what a chakra system is in the body. So essentially, chakra is an energy center, or it's a wheel. Technically, that's what the word means. And it's basically, they've just mapped that if you look at our form, we've got different centers that they can locate in our body, and they have different purposes, different functions, and they relate to different parts of our body. So, for example, earlier I was talking to you how you could use vibration to work on different parts of the body. Now they've basically created a map to figure out how do I reach that part of the body, and how do I use vibration to do that. And there are many ways vibrations you can use, but now we're just talking about how those systems work. So in our body, there are many chakras beyond the form, but we're going to just speak about the 7 that are located in our physical body, just so we can ground it into the here and now. And starting at our root, which is the lowest chakra of our body, that is like, it's our root. So the root chakra is basically our sense of security. It's our financial ability to ground in the world. It's our sense of safety. It's very primal. It's like our rooting into this world. It's like, even when we think about like our house structures, it's all of those things. So it goes from not just the physical part of the body in which it's located, but also then how that part of us echoes out into the rest of how we experience reality. And that's something just to understand when you're working with vibration, is because everything is ultimately connected. So when you start working in one part, you actually start working on the other parts of your life as well, because it is ultimately all connected. So going from the root chakra, we move up into the sacral chakra, which is located here around your kind of just in between your navel and your genitals. And this is linked to the area of your body related to your sexuality, so your sexual organs as well, and also for women, like your womb center, for men as well, actually also your womb center, because even though you don't have a physical womb, you have the area of creation in you. You also have that ability to create things into the world, birth projects and ideas and all sorts of things. And so energetically, that is the part of our body which is related to that physically. And in it, like in terms of how we see that in the world, it's the part of our lives where we can create out of. And then we move up to the solar plexus chakra, which is essentially the part of us which is like our will, our action into the world. So it's located in this part of the body. And this is really the part of us which has that drive, or sometimes lack of drive, when it's like the energy there is like maybe not completely aligned. And that's this area of the body. Moving up, we move up to the heart chakra, which I think for most people, you kind of like have come across the heart chakra, and generally that's kind of like our center. It's our connection to other people as well. This is kind of where we start connecting from. It's also the place in which we connect from our heart. It's our rooting down into the earth and our connection to the cosmos. It all centers right over here. And this is, for me, this is such a powerful way to also understand the vibration. Because whatever we think and we feel and how we act in the world, as our heart beats, that's echoing into our field constantly. This is our little pacemaker that's sending out our signature into the world constantly. So our heart is a very, very powerful place. And so that's the heart center. It's also our processing. It links to the heart and also to the lungs. So for grief as well, this is our center where we process grief and loss, love, because with love, when we love someone, we lose them, we grieve. It's all very connected. Then we move up to the throat chakra. This is our center of our expression, and a very, very important one when you're learning about vibration. Because it's also the space where we meet our primary vibration, especially growing up. We start to use our voice, and suddenly our internal landscape, what we think, what we feel, starts being able to project into our external landscape. And we can express that into the world. And as we express, it resonates with other people. Maybe we say, excuse my language, but like, fuck you. And suddenly, oh, okay, that person's responding. Wow, my words have power in this world. So it's like, how do we use that word? I love you. Wow, how's this person responding? How do we use these words and how does the world resonate with what we say? Next, we move to the third eye, which is located right over here. And that is our inner knowing and our insight. It's our ability to perceive beyond the ordinary. It's also linked also to like the center of our body. So it's also our thoughts. That's this area of the body and how that functions. And then we have the crown, which is the top of the head, which is essentially our channel directly from everything beyond, right? That comes into us and allows expression into this world. That's our connection to what we can call our higher selves, or to our true selves, our inner selves, our authentic selves. That's that like divine connection that each of us has an individual relationship with. So that's the chakra system, and that's just one of various mappings of how we can start seeing ourselves as more multidimensional vibrational beings rather than just physical structures. And so in terms of like how some of these bowls work, I'm sure you guys have seen these guys around. So I recently just came back from India, so I'm very excited to finally have my own full set of bowls. But essentially, when you get bowls that are tuned to correct frequencies, they essentially are tuned to, long story as to how they found this out, but the right frequencies for our physiology. So I was actually on the grass earlier with a bunch of kids showing them, and there's too many of you to show now. But if you have to fill this bowl with water, and if I have to just go around this bowl like this, that water will start forming patterns, it will start to jump. So this is the quickest way I often get people to understand how vibration can start interacting with us. It's because I think we all understand that most of our body is actually made up of water. So when I make a sound, that same thing that happens to that water is happening inside our bodies. So it is penetrating us. The sound is literally penetrating most of what our physical structure is. And so now I spoke to you about the chakra system, right? So now they've got these bowls that are tuned to the different chakras. So you can make a sound, and this bowl is going to affect your energetic system based on what I just explained to you, which, I don't know, I kind of find that pretty wild. So this is just one way that we can kind of work with sound and affect our physiology, and also help us align to what I call like our original blueprint, or when our energy centers are working in a healthy way. And for everyone that looks kind of different, but I think we've all had the experience of like feeling very insecure, suddenly house is a problem, or job has fallen apart, relationship is also feeling a little bit shaky, and it all kind of like happens at the same time. That's generally when we say, okay, that area of your body is contracted perhaps, and that part of your energy system might need some alignment work. And so that's when you can start working either through the life process of going out and seeking a relationship therapist, or finding a new house, which is all very important. but also with your energetic system. Because at the end of the day, that's where really everything kind of starts from. It's from your energetic self, and then over time and space, starts manifesting into the world. I'm going to repeat that one again. So it starts with your energetic self, and over time and space, that starts rippling out into the world around us, and we start experiencing it in our everyday lives. Does everyone kind of understand what I'm saying? Okay. Do we have any questions up to now? No. Cool. Okay. So I think I'm going to speak about throwing out our destiny. So how does vibration affect our lived reality and what we end up experiencing? So I don't know if I can have two of you maybe as people to help me explain this. Two volunteers. Do I have two volunteers? Yeah, one. And one more. Yeah, you want to come? Cool. So you're going to stand right over there, and you're going to stand right over there. And our hands are our vibratory states, right? So you're not going to do much, but you're going to be holding quite a dense vibration. So you're going to hold the vibration down here. You just hold it for me there. And you're going to be holding quite a light vibration, so you're just going to hold it up here for me. Cool. And so I'm over here, right? There's a dense vibration over there, and there's a really light one. And depending on how I am today, I'm either going to like maybe come slightly closer to you. I'm going to vibe over here, and maybe tomorrow I'll vibe down here, right? And each of you have your own qualities, and depending on my state, I might want to be over there, but if I'm like this, there's no way that I can actually get there until I can learn to start doing this with myself and become matched to you, right? And so in life, what we're often trying to do is we're trying to create a way for us to move between different states of being. Sometimes we understand this as like a personal well-being. You know, I might label this as joy and happiness, and I need to be able to go towards that. And I don't want to feel dark and depressed. Sorry, dark and depressed. You're dark and depressed today. But I might not like that. But when we start changing our understanding of like high and low, we change it to maybe you're wide. Can you be wide for me? And can you be little? No. And I might say that that's the vibration of resilience. And I can say that this is the vibration of, what are you the vibration of today? Peace, right? And now these are both qualities that I really, really want. But sometimes in life, we have to go through certain things to be able to learn resilience, and maybe letting go of peace for a while is necessary. And so for me to be able to get to you, and if I'm currently kind of around here, then sometimes having something to help me expand. So for example, if I'm over here and I'm trying to get there, if we insert an expansive medicine, something that has this energy to it that's pushing, it can help push me open until I'm a match for resilience. And then suddenly I'm experiencing a life with more resilience in it, right? Okay, thank you. I think that gets the point. So in terms of how this kind of works, if you guys understand anything around timelines, so generally in life, you know, we're going down a certain path and we reach these 2 points along the path, and we can go either that way or that way. That's happening every second of every day. There's like a million things which are happening at once, and in every moment we're deciding, okay, well, I'm going to look over here, I'm not going to respond to that question, okay, I'm going to respond to that one. There's all these little decision markers that are leading us along. Now, generally, we cannot experience or attract what we are not a vibratory match for. And so there's a lot of work, especially in the spiritual communities, about like changing your state, manifestation, how do we manifest? Okay, we have to like say affirmations or certain things, and it will help like raise us to the right frequency, and you'll align with it and you'll attract it. It's true. It's kind of how it works, but it's not always as straightforward. And there is some work that has to go into actually being a match for that. So, for example, if I want to be a match for something that's of a certain vibration, and I'm only using my thoughts, but I don't feel that on my body, then 90% of my vibration is not in resonance. So it's about coming into a full coherence throughout your system until you're finally a match for that thing that I'm trying to align to and unlock within myself. So, yeah. So this is where another term that comes up a lot is spiritual bypassing. And this is something that I personally think is a superpower, although I know a lot of people think it's like something really bad. And essentially what spiritual bypassing is, it's using spiritual means to bypass a situation. Now obviously, if there's something where you have to feel and address something and you're avoiding it, that's probably not good, because it's for your highest purpose and soul, drive to complete that and work through that situation with whoever it is and feel what you need to feel. However, sometimes in life we actually can move past things without going through them. And this is where vibration comes in, which is really cool. So I normally explain this using plant medicine. For me, plant medicines are essentially like psychedelic mushrooms, for example, or ayahuasca. They have very, very high energetic frequencies. So when we consume them, we consume these high frequencies, and suddenly, whoop, we like unlock all of these other things which we normally can't experience. So sometimes we experience realms or beings or thoughts which are not part of our everyday life because they're actually outside of our frequency band at the time. So another just note for some of you that have never heard me speak, I also am a channeler. So I channel different things, I communicate with plants, but I communicate with all sorts of things that are beyond the physical realm as well. And the main thing to understand about channeling, and I explained this in my last talk, is that it also is in frequency bands. So sometimes it's like when someone passes away, they essentially leave their body, which is their densest form, behind, and they become less dense in a sense. And so sometimes, if I go into meditation, or if I'm in the right state of being, or with the use of a psychedelic, which is a very common experience for people, you enter another frequency band and suddenly you have access to that field. Some people are very energetically sensitive, so they can read into your energy body, for example, just by feeling or by looking at you. They can perceive things that are just outside of our usual band of experience. And for those of you that might not understand this completely, it's kind of like the visual spectrum. We understand like the range of visual colors, and we understand that there's UV, which is kind of outside of our visual spectrum, but it's still there. So if you put glasses on, you're able to see into a higher spectrum or a lower spectrum. It's the same thing with life. You can kind of change your vibrational band, and you have access to a lot of other things in life. And this is the same thing for manifestation. It's just changing the part that you're on based on vibration, taking a psychedelic, changing your state, dealing with something which is very difficult in your life, which you haven't been able to deal with before, coming back into normal reality, and that having been resolved in you, you no longer attract anything in life to try and resolve that in your ordinary daily life. So for example, you have a guy that's like going out, and you can tell he just wants to get into a fight, right? He's just attracting a fight. And he goes out and of course he gets into the biggest fight ever. And it's just because that's kind of what he's putting out in his energy body. It's what he's going to attract based on who he is presenting at that moment. And as well, when you're angry and you go out and you're furious, and then you drop something, and then you stub your foot on the door, and it's we end up creating this little life path based on the vibration that we're putting out into the environment. And so really learning to work with our energy and learning to work with our vibration, our intention, and with energy medicines, we can start actually redirecting our lives in quite a profound way. So